Yes guys, I'm just going to fill the inside of this $100 bill using a 5RL. If you watch me move across it, I'm kind of wiggling my needle in whatever direction necessary to accurately map out what I can see. There's no aggressive, harsh lines going in. Everything's getting feathered into shape, carefully placed. And I'm kind of printing it on as I go. I don't need to wipe the excess ink off after every single line. Here, while I'm mapping around the outside of this 100 on the bill, it's very subtle, but I'm actually doing tiny little circles to wiggle the needle in to generate like a gentle, thicker line around the outside. I'm keeping my left hand out the way as well, so it's not getting in the way of the print that I'm trying to demonstrate. When I'm going along here, all these little sections, these are little sections of detail in the print, and I can literally just map them in as I go and target them once, and I'm getting the ink in. It's not where I'm having to line it all and then infill the little shapes. I'm literally picking out the details as I pass it, so it hit in one go. I've actually got quite a lot of my needle sticking out the end of my tube because I'm literally just scraping across the surface of the skin. I can feel the needle only just breaking the surface of the skin, and I'm essentially like gliding across back and forth to get these shapes in. His needle's not getting rammed into the skin at all. It's hitting quite gently. The good thing about using the lining needle for this and literally mapping as you go is you can get into every single shape as you move across it. I'll always sort of do this method first when I'm mapping the initial details, and then on the next layer, when I swap to my mag, I can build up the shading then and put like a shade through it. To hear that this writing's that small, there's no way I'm going to write down every letter, so I'm just mapping out what I can see. So more so than writing, it just literally looks like squiggles in the shape of how the writing would sit. There's not a case where, on this type of stuff, where you literally have to map out every single little thing. You're interpreting what you can see as best you can. So certain shapes are that small that you won't accurately get every little bit in. Every time I'm doing a few little sections as well, I'm just going to keep patting it as I go, and it's going to essentially keep itself clean. I'm not wiping it every few seconds, cleaning it. When I've finished the full mapping and I'm starting to build the shading up, that's where I can clean it more frequently and really like assess it then. But when you're mapping it out, you want to keep it as clean as possible and try to avoid smudging away your print and stuff like that. Am I still in the middle? Yeah. So along here then, that line's thicker than my 5. So if I wiggle tiny little circles as I move across, it's generating that thicker line and it's hitting it in one go. There's a temptation with anything like this as well to start moving quicker and moving more aggressive, pressing down firmer onto the skin to get the ink in. But all you're going to do there is just cause more damage. As you get better at doing this, you'll get more gentle and you'll get a better ability to get the ink in with minimum skin damage and keeping everything as efficient as possible. When I was starting out, if I was doing something like this, I would have literally been cleaning it after every little bit. Probably would have got a little bit across and smudged all my print off. So I know what it's like when you're trying to map something out and it's getting stressful because you can hardly see what you're doing. So these shapes along here, I'm moving across this really light onto the skin. I'm hardly putting any pressure on. I can literally just feel it scraping ever so slightly. When you're trying to get something in a little bit more solid, rather than increasing your pressure a lot and risking hacking the skin up, you can just slow down your movement. So I can just move slower across these words to get it in more solid. But I can still be really gentle and light on the skin. So with anything like this, I would actually map these details literally from the bottom and I'd map it all the way up. On this one, I did the whole outside for the purpose of the demonstration so that I could just show you filling all the middle, how I'm moving across all the different shapes, how I'm using my needle at different hand speeds. For this top bit, that says 100 there, but you can't, it's not what you can see because the way it curves round, so I'm literally only going to stick to the shapes that I can see on the print. I'm not going to start thinking it should say 100 that, so I'll just add that extra 0 in at the end. I'll start changing the shape of it. How far in are we? Minutes. Does it say? 11. Don't stop it if you have to.
11.
So we're 11 minutes in so far, and that's what it's took to generate the details in there. But there is a lot going on, so I've took my time with everything and made sure I've got it in as accurately as I can. If you are one of these people though that's sort of training, or you've not been doing it too long and something like this really stresses you out, you want to try this method of essentially just gliding your needle across all the shapes and manipulating your speed, so moving your hand faster where you need to, lighter on the skin where necessary, and being firmer with your pressure slightly when you need to build up the saturation more solid. So that's where you can give it a clean. Still excess print on it, but I'm confident I've mapped all the sections. Then I can go into my shading. Sweet, give it a go guys.